Coming up on The Breakdown, another Lincoln Project ad gets banned by Comcast. This one calls out Fox News for its anti-vaccine propaganda. But it's not banned here. We'll show you what all the fuss is about. And the January 6th committee is firing up. Our guest, former federal prosecutor and host of the Talking Feds podcast, Harry Litman, joins us to break down next week's hearings. And we'll end the week with a game and a chance for you to score some LP gear. It all starts now. Good evening and welcome to The Breakdown. I'm Tara Setmayer. Yes, and with me as always is the Rick Wilson who is pre-gaming. I have my adult beverage prepared for this evening's game later on because it is Thursday. And if you are a regular watcher of our show, you know what happens on Thursdays. We drink, we play games, and we give stuff away. But before we get to all of that, we have a great show planned for you tonight. And we will be hearing from a former U.S. attorney and host of the Talking Feds podcast, Harry Litman. Harry is fantastic. And if you don't listen to his podcast, you should, because he always has amazing guests on there. It's a cacophony of various federal former prosecutors and agents, and they talk all kinds of cool stuff. So if you haven't checked it out, you should. But he will be with us later on to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk January 6th. We're going to talk about Tom Barrack, Trump's buddy who just got busted, who's sitting in jail right now. Stay tuned for Harry Litman. And like I said, later on, we're going to play a little game. So stay tuned for that, give some stuff away. As always, we want to hear from you. So if you have a question, tweet it to us at #AskTheBreakdown, and we will get to it later on in the show, along with the voicemail system. It is a go. You can leave us a message on the voicemail. There's the number, and you might just hear your voice later on in the show also. All right, Rick, how much pre-gaming have you done?
That was the start of my pre-gaming. That was it.
I'm just checking because I don't know how much pre-gaming was happening beforehand. It is the end of the week. There's a lot going on. There is a lot happening.
A little bit going on today.
A little bit going on today. The headlines tonight include us, the Lincoln Project. Why? Well, we have released an ad today going after Fox News for their anti-vaccination propaganda. And our buddies over at Comcast apparently refused again to run it because they said, quote, it didn't comply with their guidelines. So we're going to show our audience, if you guys haven't seen it yet, what was so awful about our Lincoln Project ad that Comcast refused to show it. Let's take a look.
Is Rupert Murdoch trying to kill Americans? His network is the leading voice against COVID vaccination.
How many Americans have died after taking the COVID vaccine?
Going door to door? This is creepy stuff.
The focus of this administration on vaccination is mind-boggling.
The Americans who are dying from COVID are almost all not vaccinated. Rupert Murdoch was vaccinated. Does anyone really think Tucker Carlson isn't vaccinated? But Murdoch's Fox News continues to put Americans at risk by pushing anti-vax hysteria. It's dangerous, immoral. Fox News is helping kill Americans. Call your local television provider and tell them to drop Fox News. It's not about politics. It's about life and death.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Rick Wilson, you want to explain to folks why Comcast has once again rejected it? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with this.
It's the Quan, the green, the stacks.
Great Jerry Maguire reference, by the way.
Comcast is one of the largest feeders of Fox News. Guys, Fox doesn't make its money off of advertising, okay? Because the MyPillow guy, the adult incontinence products, the gold and the survival canned goods are not an advertising base you can make a profit off of. Fox makes its money by cable carriers across the country paying them a per capita fee. So if you're at Comcast in Florida, you're paying $7 or $8 per person per month to Fox to compensate them for being on your network. That's how Fox makes their money. So you got to go at the inflection point of where Fox is vulnerable. It's the carrier fees. That's what we're doing here, because we find places with bad people where they're vulnerable. Trump with his mental state, Toyota with their brand image. And now, we made this ad to push on Fox, especially because we understand from our sources inside Fox, we understand from our sources, in Washington, there is a great rising panic that they have played the game too far. They thought that COVID vaccinations was going to be a great culture war wedge issue for them for 2022, where they would say, oh, they're trying to make you get this shot. It's going to put 5G in your ass. They realized a few weeks ago, according to a pollster I spoke to today, that they're killing their own demo.
That's
and
right.
that it's hurting people like their golden child, Ron DeSantis, where Florida has the fastest growing and the greatest number of both cases and fatalities per capita right now in the country.
1 in 5.
Because they're playing the game, thinking this is fun and funny, and they're going to have a great laugh about it, all the way down to the owning the libs bank. Well, here's the thing, folks. The consequences are serious. Just as you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, there are people who are now seriously discussing whether or not there should be class action litigation against Fox, because their journalistic protections only go so far. And there's a large body of legal defense work on their part of both Tucker, Sean, and Laura in various legal cases saying, oh, we're just entertainers, we're not news. Well, those entertainers are telling millions of Americans who think that they're news not to get vaccinated.
When they're vaccinated themselves, by the way.
Right, that's exactly right, Tara. Tucker Carlson, I guarantee you, is vaccinated. I guarantee you Sean Hannity is vaccinated. I guarantee you Laura Ingraham is vaccinated. Every single one of those people that walk in that building either have to be vaccinated or tested every day. And having lived in a COVID pod last year where they shoved a swab up my nose every couple of days, no thank you. I'd get vaccinated even if I wasn't a smart person. Look, these people are the most cynical and dark bastards you could hope to imagine. We poked them in the nose today. About 1.5 million people have seen the ad as of 5 o'clock today. It's getting enormous traffic. It's trending on Twitter. Media is covering it. The far right is losing their damn minds about it, which is, by design, folks. This is one of the things that's incredibly predictable, because right now we're drawing a new wedge. We recognize that Fox is already starting to back away because they're afraid of legal consequences. Now, you're going to have the crazy of the crazies saying, well, why is Fox cucking out? Why aren't they holding the line? We don't need these damn vaccines. And you're going to see some of them like Rand Paul continue to try to play their little games. So yeah, we took a good shot at Fox today, good shot at Rupert Murdoch today. And look, Rupert, you're getting up there. The actuarial tables are knocking on your door, buddy. Figure out how you want to be received once you click off. Because right now you're helping to kill more Americans than you could have possibly imagined.
Strong words, because they're true. And what's happening now is that the truth is catching up to them, right? Because it's literally killing people off. And so when they realize that, this week we saw this shift, right, going on over there at Fox, and everyone was going, wait, what? What's going on? You got Sean Hannity now talking about vaccines, even though 23 and a half hours out of 24 a day, he's, pumping that garbage about anti-vaccine stuff. Tucker hasn't said anything yet, or neither has Ingram. But
the Frau, as I call her.
Yeah. I mean, too much Botox too, man. All that work she's had done on her face, she can't I don't even think she's physically capable of smiling anymore. She's the worst. But anyway, so you have all these people. You've got Steve Scalise now talking about getting vaccinated. It was clear that they got together and made a decision that they need to start remessaging this again in a different way, right? I got into a little bit of a Twitter back and forth with someone from The Blaze because I tweeted out this story about this guy in a hospital in Louisiana who was literally in the hospital with tubes and everything stuck in him, and interviewed by CBS down there saying that he didn't get the vaccine. He's been in the hospital for a couple of months and he wouldn't get it now. Even after everything he's gone through, he still wouldn't get it. the level of death cult that we've reached with these people because of this constant indoctrination. And I tweeted out, I wonder where this guy gets his news. So of course, the guy that works for the Blaze came back and said, well, the majority of unvaccinated people are people of color. And where do they get their news? I don't think they're, are they watching Fox? And this is that disingenuous argument of trying to substitute the argument, this whataboutism bullshit. That person knows that there is a different reason behind vaccine hesitancy in the Black community. That goes back to a very ugly history of Black
horrifying,
folks being, that's right,
a horrifying history.
Right, with Tuskegee and all of these things, there was a horrible, ugly history there that has spanned generations. So there is a historic hesitancy there for good reason. And also there's access issues. There's all kinds of other things. No, it's not because they watch Fox News every day and getting indoctrinated with bullshit nonsense. There's actually legit reasons there. And once people start talking in their education, you see those rates turn around. But that's what these people are trying to do. They're trying to turn this into—
And a lot of leaders in the African-American community have been out aggressively, from athletes to faith leaders to business leaders to entertainers. They have been pushing aggressively in the African-American community.
Because
and
that's
Fox,
the responsible thing. Unlike the disingenuous fucks at Fox that hedge and say, well, we're not going to say whether we got a vaccine or not. It's our medical right. Or that dumbass Marjorie Taylor Greene, invoking HIPAA for the reason not to say it. HIPAA doesn't work that way, you dumbass. You're a member of Congress. At least learn the laws if you're going to use them as an excuse not to be honest. They know better. And yet here they are trying to make us look like we're the ones trying to take somebody's freedom away, or that it's somehow an invasion of medical privacy. No, their decisions every day impact other people. If you want to be a selfish bastard and kill yourself and your own family, that's on you. That's between you and God. But the problem is that these people go out and infect other people in their communities who are trying to live safely. It impacts other people. It's not a victimless crime. So I don't want to hear this bullshit from these people talking about you're chiding people into, their own personal decisions and blah, blah, blah. No, we're asking them to be responsible human beings and not be selfish bastards and get a vaccine to protect everybody else, because it doesn't just
and
affect
not kill
them.
grandma.
Correct. So that's what I have to say about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, the dynamic with Fox and what's going on there with Harry in the next segment. But I wanted to also talk about a couple other things that are going on before we go there. Earlier this week, I tweeted out one of your famous expressions, Rick, everything Trump touches dies, in reference to Tom Barrack getting arrested and sitting in jail now because he is another very close associate of Donald Trump's. I would dare even say friend. I use that term loosely because Trump really isn't friends with anyone. It's all very transactional. But Tom Barrack has been around for decades in the Trump orbit. Very wealthy guy. He was Trump's transition chair once they kicked Chris Christie out of that role. He is the transition chair. And he got in trouble for not just lobbying and not registering, but he got in trouble for engaging in some foreign activities with other governments that wasn't okay. And he also obstructed justice and lied to federal officers. This guy is in trouble. And he also has tentacles that go out into Trump world that include Jared and Ivanka. And it starts to all make sense now for those who've paid attention to this part of what happened. Because, I got to be honest, Rick, there was so much shit going on in the Trump administration that it was hard to keep track, right? The fire hose of fuckery was real. And
the criming was extensive.
It was. And some of that stuff flew under the radar, the foreign policy stuff, because there was so much stuff going on domestically that people were like, yeah, whatever's happening over there. We've got stuff going on here every day with this guy. This Tom Barrack stuff, as more becomes available, more information, should concern everyone, because we're going to start to see, I believe, the through line between what happened with our relationship with Saudi Arabia, the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, the blockade with Qatar, Jared Kushner and his 666 Fifth Avenue property that was in a lot of trouble, had $1.2 billion loan that was coming due that he couldn't pay. Right. All of a sudden, he got some financing for that. That was from
weird how the Qatari Sovereign Wealth Fund invested in a company that immediately flipped the same amount of money back into Jared's parents' Jared's dad's trouble building. And within days, the blockade that Jared loved went away.
That's right. So this is all very incestuous and very crimey, to use your terminology. And we should pay attention to it because I was chatting with our friend Michael Cohen earlier today, and he had tweeted out that he thinks that there's a possibility Jared may be cooperating because Jared is the proximity Jared Kushner has to a lot of this stuff is it cannot go unrecognized. And so a lot of people tweet at us and they ask, they're like, why hasn't Kushner been caught up? Why hasn't he been indicted for something yet? And, there's a couple reasons. One of them could be maybe he's cooperating because, that family is cutthroat too. And
wouldn't shock me.
No, I mean, he would turn to save his ass 100%. So who knows? Maybe. Oh yeah, I tweeted out about that too because I've been following that. And if folks are more interested in Jared Kushner, read Vicky Ward's book, Kushner Inc. It will infuriate you, and you'll get a little more insight.
Right
into
on
this guy.
point.
Yes. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit more about the January 6th committee because there's been some stuff going on since the last time we were together with that. Next Tuesday, the first hearing starts on that, and Nancy Pelosi's putting her foot down, which was great. After we discussed that on Tuesday, she actually did it, which I think is wonderful. And there's some rumors about some other Republicans that might join the committee and what that might look like. So after the break, we're going to bring in Harry Litman and talk a little January 6th, a little Tom Barrack, and a little Fox News. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When you heard Governor Greg Abbott say, as soon as they come back to the state, we're going to arrest them, and we're going to cabin them inside of the Capitol, are they able to do that to y'all?
The governor has no legal ability whatsoever to arrest any member of the Texas House. So all of his pandering about that is false, yet again. The only person that can do that is the Speaker, and the Speaker has not issued arrest warrants for House members at this time.
Well, they're burning the house down.
Please protect yourself.
Vice President speaking.
This is an embarrassment.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win.
What the fuck?
Have some faith, I'll make you a believer.
And welcome back to The Breakdown. Joining us tonight is legal expert and host of the Talking Feds podcast, Harry Litman. Harry will be with us in a few seconds. Rick, we are going to talk to him about the fact that Pelosi rejected the gyms. I call them the jerk-off gyms from the committee. Very Jersey of me, but I can't help it because it fits. When the shoe fits.
It's the language of your homeland. I respect it.
Indeed. Well, you see behind me, I have my Jersey Girl sign. It's over there. Yeah.
There it is. Well, I do think it's very telling that, of course, the Republicans had several opportunities to engage on this. In the beginning, they said absolutely not, no how, no way. We shouldn't do any kind of commission. We should be investigating Antifa. Ridiculous, ludicrous.
Right.
Well,
Deflection.
They went back and forth. They tried to pretend this wasn't going to happen. And now they've been told, hey, guys, we're doing this regardless. And so, of course, he sends over a guy who is not a congressman, but a troll. And Jim Jordan was a poison pill, as I called him yesterday on Twitter, right. A poison pill stunt monkey to come into this thing.
Yes.
And it really was telling how fundamentally unserious they are about the truth and how fundamentally committed they are to the big lie. Because Jim Jordan is one of the number one proponents of the big lie.
That's correct.
And I think it's just it was exactly the right move, not only by Speaker Pelosi, but by Liz Cheney, who took Kevin McCarthy outside, cut him, gutted him, skinned him, and tacked him up to the barn. I mean, that was a beatdown so brutal. I was like, God damn, it's like MMA.
It was glorious. It was glorious. Well, like I always say, I always caveat it because the Cheneys are polarizing figures in politics. But, you got to respect the fact that she's got a serious pair on her, and they are tough. They are tough political operatives. And to see Liz Cheney just absolutely fillet these cowards is glorious. It is.
It is indeed.
Kevin McCarthy doesn't know what the hell to do with this. He's not built for this. Give me a break. He's trying to, that press conference with him yesterday was absurd. He was trying to be this tough guy, and all he sounded like was a whiny bitch about this, and so disingenuous, because like you said, the Republicans have had multiple chances to be serious about this and to actually get to the bottom of it, and they've skirted that opportunity and they've turned it around into they're the ones making this a political issue. I'm so glad that Pelosi is putting her foot down and that it's women that are leading the charge here on this. I love to see it. All right, I believe Harry is ready for us. Harry Litman, welcome to The Breakdown, my friend.
Very good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. You didn't get the memo, though. It's Casual Thursday. Well, then again, every day for me is casual.
It's just like any other video, and I know.
Yeah, take it off, man.
From the waist down, but I don't think you want it.
Yes. I'm wearing shorts, man.
So Harry, you probably heard that we were discussing this January 6th committee, and it's starting next week, and all of the kabuki theater that's been going on around this on the part of the Republicans. You tweeted something interesting about McCarthy's tactics here. He pulled out the rest of his guys, so now there's no Republicans other than Liz Cheney on the committee, and Pelosi has the power to appoint more if she wants. She can appoint, I hope she appoints Adam Kinzinger. He'd be great.
Right.
Bring some Republicans on as far as staff that are serious folks here that are looking to get to the bottom of this. But you said that taking his ball and going home is tricky, that it's a forced strategy. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, here's what I think. Man, must they hate her. He got totally outmaneuvered, and now he's going to go and do their own, we'll go find the real killers committee that no one is ever going to listen to. He's been totally outmaneuvered, and I just was trying to think, when did he lose this poker game? Was it when he first forwarded these 5 people? I think he probably thought, I'm being kind of reasonable. 3 of them are not, lying maniacs, so she'll have to take the other 2. And she actually, once again, Pelosi, who they've underestimated it time and time again, said no. And she really has the goods on them. If you look at what Banks and Jordan said on the 6th, what they said immediately on being appointed here, we're going to make this about Black Lives Matter, or this is impeachment 3. She has them dead to rights. And when did he lose this game? I think he lost it January 6th, because I think what Banks and Jordan had to say then basically disqualified them and put them in this camp of the big lie that, of course, you can't have people investigating who already are committed to this other notion. So she comes out of the box. I think she looks really reasonable in saying, look, say what you want, but you're not the people who should be investigating here. The fault line, as other congressmen have put it, is, do you believe that something happened on the 6th? So I just think when I say forced move, he has to say, well, we're all 5 of us are going to leave now. Okay. Because that committee where they've already done that is going to now actually go forward and have a serious kind of inquiry without Jordan being a jerk and trying to make a circus of it. And they could actually make some real headway until, and this is, I think, the point coming up I've been thinking about, what happens when the first person subpoena, they're starting, it's wise, with the law enforcement types. I think that'll be riveting testimony for America. But then they call, say, somebody who was there on the 6th with Trump, or, leading up to McCarthy himself.
Yeah.
And they try to mess around in the courts. What's going to happen then? Will they be able to play the same game as an impeachment? Sorry, Rick, you go ahead.
Yeah, no. I mean, Harry, it's like, here's a question. I don't know what the legalities of this are, but you had Congressman Mo Brooks there at the rally, doing the same rah-rah that all the other people were doing that day. Go get them.
Told them to go kick ass.
The Capitol. Yeah, go kick ass. Yeah. You may end up with there are reports that Lauren Boebert's staff and other staff were directed to help let the insurrectionists tour the Capitol the day before. I mean, we may end up with congressional staff and members who are called as eyewitnesses to this, and not in a way that is cooperative, that in a way that is
not in a friendly way.
Right.
I mean,
I think that gets a very hot.
I'll tell you the legality of it. It's legal. This is not like a court proceeding where, you can't be a witness in your. They can absolutely turn around and say, Leader McCarthy, or if he were on there, Mr. Jordan, I subpoena you. And he can't say, because I'm on the committee that I won't do it. What he could do, though, is make some kind of phony baloney argument like they did during impeachment and hope that they can draw out the clock and, just have it go through the courts, even if it's spurious, until the commission shuts down. So I'm wondering if the Congress can actually do one quick thing through reconciliation that passes a bill that makes a subpoena from Congress have a very quick trigger time through the courts. If they could make that go quick all the way up, that would be excellent.
Is that something that's actually
Right.
Is that something that's actually being contemplated right now, or is that notional for you?
I mean, it was contemplated at 3 a.m. When I was sleeping and trying to think about now that she has outmaneuvered them, how could it go awry? So no. Do you know anybody we could suggest this to? But I am looking. I think it could happen. Is the short answer, and that would be the one thing. Then they roll. They've got subpoena power. She's large and in charge. It doesn't matter who they put in, and they'll subpoena people. They've got to show up, unless they're being jerks about it.
Because there's really no other way for subpoenas to be enforceable unless you. I mean, you can send the sergeant at arms and go arrest them and throw them in the clink there in the Capitol, but no one's ever done that. I mean, frankly,
since 1928. I mean, you would need a court.
That's right. Since the 1920s. So to expedite that process, if they could do that, because Congress does control that. I mean, the regulations that are set for the courts are through Congress. So if they did that, 100%. That would be very interesting. That's a good tidbit that a lot of folks
thought exercise.
About. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just say you can't stop it you can't put a stay in unless the stay is let them in their own, judicial time, take 3 years to figure it out. But in the meantime, they can't stop the music unless it goes all the way through and the stay is. That would be cool.
I'm actually going to suggest that to somebody in leadership. I have a couple friends there. Yeah. And I will say this. I mean, my question is, Harry, and I don't know what you think about this. I mean, there were a lot of people there that day. Rudy Giuliani. Who were on the stage. Rudy Giuliani. And Don Jr. and the whole passel of Trump and family and supporters, and Trump himself. Do you think the committee is going to go after an actual statement from Trump in person or even on video?
So I think that would be the last move they would make, and they're going to try to put it together without him. But look, they're charged. Same thing, by the way. The DOJ wouldn't want any part of this, but they're now committed to a full investigation of everything that happened. You just can't do that without, as you say, Giuliani's there, saying
trial by combat.
Get them. Same with Don Jr. So what you want to know, same with the committee. What's the connection between the insurrectionists and these guys? Is there any wink and a nod? Is there any previous, I think even more important than the 6 in the afternoon is the 3rd and the weeks before, etc. Yes. I think they will go there. My best guess is they'll do everything first to get all the info before trying to subpoena Trump.
You know, Harry, you said something interesting, and I don't know how this works. The DOJ is obviously they've publicly gone after a lot of the small fry, the people that were on the shock troops that were on the ground. But there's a lot of speculation that they're also investigating Roger Stone and Ali Alexander and the Stop the Steal people and all the other folks that were in the Oath Keeper folks and the Patriot Movement people. Does this investigation have any kind of way to deconflict with DOJ, or will DOJ say either publicly or privately, "Hey, don't go down that road"? Or
I see. So that's
I'm trying to make sure they don't screw up indicting Roger Stone.
Yeah. So first, very quickly with DOJ, right? There's three kinds of possible defendants: the sort of hangers-on, the marauders, and then they haven't gone there yet, but they will. They now have, starting to charge people with conspiracy. That there's a crime, there's an agreement to do something unlawful. Anyone who joined that, including if they happen to be, say, the former president of the United States, is a co-conspirator. And I do think they came in not really having the stomach for going after anything Trump had done before, but you cannot do the biggest investigation in the history of DOJ and just stop, 2 feet from the goal line and say, we don't really know who the final instigators were. So that is going to happen.
Okay.
The way they could tangle up and get their feet tripping over each other would be if the committee gives people immunity. If they give people immunity to testify, then the department's going to have to go through. This happened first in the Oliver North case, but also with the Rodney King, many others. They're going to have to show that they don't use that testimony at all. DOJ has done that before. They have separate teams that filter out everything. So it's a pain in the ass, but it's doable. They'll just have to coordinate with the committee. So what they don't want to have happen is inadvertently kind of do the death ray of having the bad information and having to get the lawyers disqualified. But they can negotiate their way around that.
Okay.
That's actually something in a way that happened in the Cosby case, right? Isn't that what got Bill Cosby released from prison? There was an agreement, right? One prosecutor made an agreement in another case, and then they used that testimony against him to overturn the case that actually sent him to prison. So that was the technicality.
Yeah, I mean, that's it exactly.
Right?
You've got to talk Cosby in your civil deposition, and he said stuff, and they used it later. So, the courts can be really pretty punctilious about protecting Fifth Amendment stuff. You can understand why.
Right.
I worked on the Rodney King case, and it was the same. I mean, they'll put in a whole separate team, as big as the first team, just filtering stuff out. But they can do it. They got a lot of people at the Department of Justice.
Sure.
A mere 150,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So before we take a break, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about what your predictions are for this committee. Do you think how long do you think it's going to go for? Is this going to bleed into 2022? Are they just going to protract it? And do you think that the American people will actually be receptive of this? Can the Democrats handle this in a way and escape all of the noise that's going to come from the Republicans saying this is just some type of partisan witch hunt?
Yeah. My best guess is yes, but it's a political calculation, right? I think she will hang tough, and we won't have Jordan and those guys on. And I think there's 30% who will think otherwise, half of them and half of Fox News viewers, but who will say, this is something we need to know about. We needed to know about 9/11. We needed to know about who killed Kennedy. As a country, we do need to know about this. Even though they're going to be taking pot shots and getting, real fights on the other side, I just don't think people are going to believe, what's their latest move? It was all Pelosi who didn't, make the National Guard ready on all that shit. I don't think it's going to fly. And I do think people will know that it's a really important imperative of democracy to know what the hell happened in the worst sort of attack on democracy we've ever had.
No question.
But the one thing I'm scared about is just going back. They call the first person who tries to, monkey around and resist. And now are they sort of stuck? Do they have the stomach to play that out? I think they will want to complete everything within a year. And that means that if they're able to be stymied just by time, I'm worried how that will play. But my best guess is, even though, unlike 9/11, where all of America said, of course, we have to know about this, here there will be 20 or 30% who'll be screaming that it's all partisan. My best guess is that all plays into Democrats' hands more or less, because what those 20 or 30% are, they're just re-upping their commitment to the big lie. Right, and I think there's a pretty big, swath of the country that says, we ought to know what the hell happened here. This is pretty serious. My best guess. You guys are better at that than I am, but yeah.
Well, we're hoping so. There's more of us than them, which is what I often say. Stay tuned. We have more with Harry Litman coming up after this break. We're going to talk a little Fox and a little Tom Barrack arrest. We'll be right back.
Yeah, or a lot Tom Barrack. Yeah.
It was an attack on the American Capitol, an assault on the temple of our democracy, a plot to destroy us all. The attackers followed a sick and corrupted ideology promoted by a charismatic leader, obsessed with grievances and wild conspiracies, driven by fear, willing to take innocent lives for their leader. On that day, our capital was saved from destruction only by the bravery of a handful of Americans with nothing in common but their love for this nation and their willingness to answer the call to courage. That day was the terrorist attack of September 11th, 2001. Al-Qaeda's attack on the Capitol was thwarted only by brave Americans willing to die to protect us all. There have only been 2 large-scale terrorist attacks planned against the U.S. Capitol. January 6th was ordered by an American president. Where do you stand? With the terrorists or America?
Welcome back to The Breakdown. We're here with legal expert Harry Litman. He's also the host of the podcast, The Talking Feds. So Harry,
a fantastic podcast, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I've been a guest.
Featured Rick Wilson, among others. Tara, I hope you'll come. Okay.
I extend the invite. I'll make it happen.
Such a good podcast.
Yeah, we were in the beginning of the show talking about how you have such a cacophony of amazing experts in the legal field there, whether they're former prosecutors or former agents. Yeah, so it's really, really good. But yes, so check out the Talking Feds. So we are going to now switch gears. We teased it a little bit before the break to Tom Barrack. For those who don't know, Tom Barrack is a very close friend and associate of Donald Trump's. He's pals with Jared Kushner. And Tom Barrack has lots of ties overseas, particularly in the UAE and Saudi Arabia and those folks out there. He's gotten himself into some trouble. Harry, please explain why we should care.
Yeah. Well, 2 things about this guy. First, unlike Manafort or the whole rogues gallery that are also starting to either in pinstripes or pardoned, this is who Trump is, right? This guy calls him Donnie from the 80s. And the way he operates is the way Trump operates. So that's one reason we care. The second reason we care is the indictment. It's a little bit different from even what happened to Flynn, say. The indictment says he is an agent of the United Arab Emirates. He's got a coat and tie and he looks American, but picture him as the Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates, talking to his good buddy Donnie, and literally inserting language he wants in speeches, getting the administration policy to be friendly to the UAE, screwing our really important ally Qatar because the UAE wants it, and he's getting, you know, high fives from them. So this is the guy who he's so tied with. So either Trump is a stooge who just wanted to do a solid for his friend, or he's a crony who wanted to do a solid for his friends. But once again, it's another part of this big theme of whose interest is the president of the United States not serving the people's. It might be his own personal, it might be his buddies, but this is a serious transgression he's charged with. And just, I won't go through the long indictment, which they investigated for 3 years, but basically he's working and making anywhere from $750,000 to $1.5 billion to insert pro-UAE talking points, policies, etc., directly into the president, and we don't know it. Right?
That's
the
right.
rule is an agent of a government can be there, but you register
right.
with the Attorney General. We know what they're doing. Instead, this big influence is happening, and everyone, with the possible exception of the President of the United States, is completely ignorant. So, you know, policy was being twisted against national interests so this guy could make a ton of cash. He's also the guy, by the way, if we go there, who organized the inauguration, which has had all kinds of other criminal hijinks. Sorry, Phil,
that's right.
No,
that's all connected. It's important to know all of that because, you know, there's a reason why Donald Trump went to Saudi Arabia as his first foreign trip. And if you read some of the books that are out now, his advisors were upset about that. They didn't want him going there for
furious
a whole host of reasons.
And it's not his visionary foreign policy. You know.
That's right. That's right.
It was absolutely driven by Barack and Jared, from what everybody is reported. That to me, I'm no attorney, but I am an anthropologist of Trump world like few others. And if Jared Kushner's beak did not get wet in this deal, I will be shocked. I mean,
what about that guy? He has danced through the raindrops.
Such a weasel.
Way back when he lied 8 times on his SF-86.
Yeah.
Oh, way more than that. Wasn't it like in the 30s where he had to make these multiple changes?
By the way, I'm at the Department of Justice. You do that once, you're never in federal government again. And he did it again. And that's just from the start. And who knows about all the 666 stuff as it's aptly named. But that guy history is going to be written. I mean, look, to me, it's bad, everything that happened. It's terrible that people have had impunity, but it's intolerable that we don't know the story. It's going to fall to, we'll know one day what Jared Kushner did and what his role was, but we're sitting here today, 6 months after the administration, still completely ignorant what he was doing and how wet his beak is, as you say, Rick. It's crazy.
Or how small his beak is. He's been MIA, it seems, right? We haven't seen Jared and Ivanka really.
They're in
months.
Miami. They're in Miami.
And by the way, their Secret Service protection ended this week. Hallelujah. The taxpayers are no longer paying to babysit them, which is standard.
Them, but you can't use the bathroom.
Right.
They have 18 bathrooms in their house.
Yeah.
They had to put in porta potties because but yes.
They're so obnoxious, and it's standard for the president's, for the vice president to have 6 months of Secret Service protection afterward. Not so much the adult children per se, unless there is a perceived threat, and not like 5 of them. Barron still gets it until he's 16, and obviously Trump has it for life for as long as he wants it to. But it was an absolute dereliction of duty for them to do that.
Yeah, but they are always inserting, and they leak like crazy, and they're always inserting in the press these storylines that make it seem like they were the good guys trying to temper and moderate the president. I mean, that comes out again and again. They're trying to sort of rehabilitate, their reputation. maybe it's true.
No,
maybe not.
it's bullshit.
No, it's bullshit.
And as Rick Wilson always says, you're still never getting another invite to the Met Gala. So you guys can fucking forget it, okay? Before we let you go, I want to talk a little Fox.
She was my cousin's bridesmaid. She was.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
I know.
Well, before we let you go, we want to talk a little Fox because we made some news today. We've poked the bear over there. Comcast is all pissed off. They don't like us. They won't play our ads because it affects their bottom line.
Oh,
and
really?
Too bad.
Wow.
This is the second time. First it was Toyota, now it's Fox. Yeah. So you appear on Fox News. First, I've got to ask you why, Harry? Why?
Yeah. Look. I figured that maybe like 3 people will hear and say that kind of makes sense. I feel like I'm often preaching to the choir on it. I specifically didn't take a contract at MSNBC, so I could do all of them. And Fox, especially, I mean, there are a few Fox people who are reasonable. There's Laura Ingraham, who I did once, who just, ripped me a new one, notwithstanding we're old buddies, supposedly. But, I hope my sense is people who watch Fox watch it 24/7. And if I'm on and make a little bit of sense, maybe what can one do to just kind of burst out of the silo and just make people think maybe there's another world out there and another point of view. So I don't know. I give it a shot, and what's the worst that can happen? I never do like Fox and Friends in the morning or things that would leave me like as roadkill. But I try to assume that a fair percentage of the Fox viewers are thoughtful, and I try to talk to them if I can. Maybe it's useless.
You're a lot less cynical than us, but you know what? No, but good for you. Normally, I feel you on that because you have to, I always say, if I can get just a couple people to think, it doesn't have to be like I'm right, but just to rethink what you thought before with information you may not have heard before. And if that's the case, then good. But Fox has just become
feel that you respect them, you're trying to listen to them,
you try.
Right. It's here's a pathway,
Right. It's up to them. Let them make the choice. You present it in front of them, let them make the choice.
I don't know.
But with this whole vaccination thing, it's just bugging us because the freaking hypocrisy over there at Fox is insane on this issue. I mean, they required a voluntary proof of vaccination at one point. What is going on over there? So, you appear over there. What are you hearing that's going on over there with this whole vaccination thing?
It's not journalism. This is obvious, but the thing that's so galling about it is each and every person who spouts what was the old party line, and now they're scrambling because of a few deaths. But the old party line, every single one knows it's a lie. Every single one knows it's a lie. Absolutely. And they're journalists in theory. But I mean, they're not. So it seems like kind of Boy Scouty first grade stuff, but it is really just pernicious stuff that they're there knowing that it's false. And, because not everyone who listens to them does know it's false. Right. So what is it? It is not journalism. It's entertaining. The old people say if Fox was around, maybe Nixon wouldn't have been impeached. It's influential. But it's not journalism. It's some kind of weird entertainment, and it's specifically stoking the flames of what's really, sick is really just terribly, terribly wrong in the country. It goes right to the heart of it. So it's I mean, I don't mind. I was on last night with a guy who was, good conservative, snarky about certain things. But when they just lie about shit, I used to be on with Jenna Ellis, who would just make it up, and you're like, what do you do? So it's really, it's to be condemned in the strongest terms.
How does she still have her law license, Rick? And there's a word for that. It's called propaganda. That's what you call what's going on over there at Fox.
It is
propaganda.
Stalinist. Yeah, it's Orwellian. Right? Truth is fiction. It really is. So.
No, it's an inverse of fact. Well, Harry, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought. Go ahead.
Finish up.
You got me all fired up listening to you the first time.
No, we love it. Keep the energy going. That's what we do here in the breakdown. That's good. Finish your thought, Harry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I just looked at, one of these good guy media organizations that just really analyze it, because we hear it, but, we're maybe coming at it from a certain point of view, and they just laid it out. Lies, lies, and more lies. And, what's really clear now is as they're backpedaling, that there's, you wonder, the final frontier, when will Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham actually start to, speak the truth?
I think they're probably negotiating that.
That'll be the change in the country, right?
I think they're probably negotiating that inside Fox right now, where Rupert has said, you got to fix this fucking vaccine thing. And now they're at war. Because look, Tucker and Sean in particular, they're like independent countries.
Right.
Fox is like the Soviet Union. They're like Ukraine and Belarus in the old Soviet Union. They're like pretty much their own countries.
Yep.
But mess.
So then who is Laura Ingraham? Is she like Moldova or something? Or
Georgia, maybe. I'm going with Georgia.
She's more Georgia, yeah.
Yeah.
Turkmenistan.
She speaks Russian, doesn't she?
She's more Turkmenistan.
If only we could just send them all there. Harry Litman, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Good
seeing you.
Over the transom.
That's right.
We
gotcha. Keep up the good
Have a great
fight,
night. We'll talk to you soon.
Harry Litman, everyone. Make sure you check out his podcast, The Talking Feds, if you want more Harry. He's a lot of fun. All right. We're going to take a couple of your tweets, and then we're going to play a game after the break. Let's take a tweet. What are your thoughts on Ali Alexander? This is from Labelle Fournier. His role in 1-6, where is he? Why hasn't he been arrested? Is he cooperating and being protected? Rick, I know that you have a particular bee in your bonnet for Ali Alexander because you mention him all the time. I've mentioned him too. He is a particularly sinister character and played a major role in all of this. And frankly, I think that this viewer has legitimate questions here. Where the fuck is this guy? How come they haven't gotten him?
First off, I believe if you went back in the Twitter machine, you would find that I referred to Ali Akbar, who was, as he was known at the time, now Ali Alexander. I believe somewhere around 2012, I called him a shitbird because he is a creepy, scuzzy little man.
Yeah.
Who has a criminal history, who is a strange, predatory kind of grifter dude.
Yep.
But he has immersed himself in this super far-right hyper-nationalist movement and was one of the people organizing the Stop the Steal movement with Roger Stone.
Yep.
In cahoots, it looks like also with Alex Jones from InfoWars and a bunch of other folks. Now, they had a lot of money they were spending to bring people there in buses, etc. He is a ringleader in an insurrectionist conspiracy. If I had my druthers, they would have arrested him already. Now, he is apparently on the run using burner phones, staying with friends, drifting around like, some sort of hobo around the country right now, one step ahead of the law. It won't work for long. The guy can't stop communicating with people. He has to keep, he has to be present in social media to be real in his head. Mm-hmm. So they'll catch him. They'll get him. They're going to drag him to Washington. He's going to try to do this sort of performative bullshit of, I'm a patriot and you're all Marxists. Oh. Folks, he is a truly scary little shit. I would not trust this guy to park my car. He is a bad dude, and he is surrounded by many other bad dudes. So I'm hoping, and as we talked about with Harry a little bit, I'm hoping the DOJ has been working behind the scenes quietly to roll up Alexander and Stone and the rest of the scumbags that were involved in this. And they may even drag in Charlie Kirk, who was apparently in communication with them about getting buses down from TPUSA to bring all these people. He had tweeted like, we're bringing 80 buses or 40 buses, whatever it was.
Right.
And then that just disappeared. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Roger who?
He's another one. We haven't really heard much from him lately, which tells me, because he's another attention whore. So the fact that he's been a little quieter than usual tells me that, perhaps he's seeing the writing on the wall too in the horizon, because that these people feed off of the attention, and they've been a little quieter than they usually are. So
exactly.
He's another one. All right, we're going to take a quick break and come back and drink a little, play a game, and give some stuff away. We'll be right back.
Yes.
What's happening with the president?
Well, his golf game is just incredible. He's busting his driver, knocking the pins down with his iron and putting like a wild man.
It's not even about COVID. Why can't we force uppity people to take Thorazine? Like, I don't like your attitude. You need some tranquilizers.
Dr. Fauci looks like the laces outside of a football that I'd like to kick. What did we do to Saddam Hussein? What did we do to, people? I mean, these people swung from their neck in front of the world for killing far less people.
We're not attacking the vaccine, never have. We don't judge anyone who takes it.
This is a happy and inclusive movement. We even want to free Britney.
I don't care what you think about fraudulent Sleepy Joe. He's a sex trafficking, demon-possessed mongrel.
Did Donald Trump lose the election in 2020?
Real quick.
Can you answer the question? Did Donald Trump lose the election in 2020?
I'm answering questions. I'm not. Don't
is
really
this
feel any obligation to answer
an
anything
uncomfortable question for you?
This is the party of Donald Trump. If you think otherwise, you're in for a rude awakening.
All right, welcome back to The Breakdown. All right, as we head into the weekend, as we end the show, we are going to play a little game. Back by popular demand, we are playing Break It Down. How does that work? Break It Down is back. So, our producers came up with a few fill-in-the-blank sentences, very much like a very newlywed game feel, kind of ad-libs meets newlywed game. So they've come up with a couple fill-in-the-blank sentences, and it's our job to write down our spontaneous answers to what they wrote. I have not seen the questions ahead of time. Rick hasn't either. And then we write down our answers to complete the sentence. Then we're going to show each other what we wrote and see if we have the same reply. If we match our answers, we drink. If we don't match our answers, we still drink. And you get to play along with us. Yes, the game is rigged a little bit. You guys get to play along with us at home. So in our first question, our first sentence, we're going to ask you, the audience, to write down your answer because we want to hear your clever responses. So make sure you tweet your response to #AskTheBreakdown. And at the end of our little game, we'll read off 3 of your answers, 3 of the clever ones picked randomly, and you will get some Lincoln Project swag. All right? Everybody got it? So answer the first question only for the game. You can answer the other ones, but the game only applies for you for your swag for the first question. All right, here we go. Question number 1. First sentence number 1. Okay, where is it? Okay, where's the question? Oh, there it is. If Marjorie Taylor Greene joined the circus, her special talent would be... Okay, Rick. Are you ready? Go! Go ahead! Wait, I have to tilt mine down. Ping pong balls. Oh my God, so much better. Mine is eating shit, but yours is better. All right.
I'm told that that's 2. A talent.
Is it? Oh my God! I'm not even. Okay. Number 2.
Oh,
when Rand Paul was a
you don't actually get that reference?
Oh, I get it.
Okay.
No, I get it. When Rand Paul was a kid, he always dreamed of being an blank, and look at him now. Okay. Rick says a dollar store Muppet. Mine is a jerk off. I think he's accomplished it. All right, number 3. Most people don't know this, but Mitch McConnell keeps a tiny blank in his pants pocket. Come on, guys. This is just way too easy. Mitch McConnell keeps a tiny what in his pants pocket?
I'm going to go right over the line now.
Me too. You said fleshlight? I said blue pill. Number 4. Woo! Yep, it's almost the weekend, folks. All right, these days you can tell instantly if someone is a Democrat or Republican by you're trying to get us in trouble here with this.
You really are.
Blame the producers. Oh, okay. I don't want to insult people. I'm trying to be nice. Oh my gosh. You said buzzards circling overhead. Oh my God. Oh my God. I couldn't think of anything because I don't want to insult people. So I'm going to pass that one. Because there's so many things I could say that be really, really mean. And I don't want to do that. Okay. I think this is the last one. Number 5. The favorite drink of the GOP these days is a blank with a spritz of blank. All right. While Rick finishes his, I'll do mine. The favorite drink of the GOP these days is bullshit with a spritz of fuckery. Kool-Aid with a spritz of plague. Yes, very apt. Very apt. My God. All right. We did not get any of ours at the same time, but that doesn't matter because guess what, Rick? We get to drink anyway. Let's reveal what our audience came up with. Marjorie Taylor Greene joined the circus. If she joined the circus, her special talent would be, this is for pearls and puppies, voiceover actor when bizarre laughter is needed.
Right.
Yes. God, she's
bizarre
such a
and inappropriate
witch with that.
laughter.
God, she's terrible. Okay, Kathy G, biting off the heads of chickens as a sideshow.
Winner.
Yes. Very good.
Carnival Barker.
Laura Cabrera, Carnival Barker.
Nice.
Indeed, because she does act like a certain female dog. Well, we thank all of you for, yes, I said it. I was trying not to be mean, but it was fastballs down the middle. Anyway, we thank all of our viewers for your clever answers. You guys will be getting some Lincoln Project swag, so make sure you respond to your DMs because our folks will be reaching out to you to get that to you. All right, Rick, that's it. That's it for our week. That's been our show. Make sure you subscribe to the Lincoln Project podcast. It's everywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google. It's there on demand anytime. And don't forget our latest installment, Lunch with Lincoln. Tomorrow, Reed Galen will be on with Trygve Olsen. That is a must watch. If you guys did not see Trygve on our show a couple weeks ago, talking about extremism and breaking down the various elements of it and how to combat it, I'm sure he will talk about it again tomorrow. It's fascinating stuff. So check out Lunch with Lincoln tomorrow at noon. We will see you again on Tuesday right here at 8 p.m. Good night and have a great weekend.
Thanks, folks.